Well, we continue our coverage of the 2016 general election now. Our constituency, new constituency, Arbory, Castletown and Malew. Joining us is the man who was the Malew and Santon member for the last decade. He's married with a family. Good morning, Graham Cregeen.
Good morning, James.
Good morning. You were the Minister for Tourism, Culture and Leisure, effectively, yes. Community Culture and Leisure, until that was disbanded, disseminated elsewhere. I think Wikipedia still has you as the former Minister for Economic Development. You might want to correct them on that. In your 10 years, you obviously left that department. You also, I think, sacked as a department member in tourism for what was termed disloyalty, and you left as chairman of the Post Office after disagreeing with the board on the business direction it was taking, if you like. Do you feel both those sackings were fair?
No, James. I was elected, and part of my manifesto was for open and transparency in government. And for standing up for what the people deserve is that open and transparency. I don't consider that disloyalty. That's what we're elected to do, is stand up for what the people need.
Well, obviously, you're going to be moving from a single seat to a constituency with 2 seats if successful. Do you feel if you are, you could form a partnership with anybody who was elected alongside you potentially?
Yes, I do, James. Over the years, part of the things that you have to do is work along with other members. And over the years, I've had a number of motions put through Timble, even against Council of Ministers block votes. So I do consider that one of my strong points is being able to work with people. How
would you propose getting Castletown working in a dynamic fashion then? Because it's been... Well, you were involved briefly in the trying to get all the retailers together and lift the gloom over Callow's Yard. It hasn't happened.
It hasn't, and we tried to bring some people in to try and assist on this. I think what we've got to do is we've got to get the people back round the table for the good of Castletown. We've got to regenerate the south of the island. It's not just Castletown.
How, though?
Well, I think if you look at the Airport Gateway project and work that I've done in Balthain, it proves that it can be done by getting people to work together. If you look at Castletown, you could have a medieval market inside the castle. You could change the parking arrangements in the square. One of the things that I reckon that we should do is actually take over the fire station site and make additional parking in there, which would be great benefit to the town.
Of course, that's just had its final farewell. What about flooding? Because Castletown, Colby as well, there's been some areas really badly hit there in the last couple of years.
There has, and it's even when you go through Malew with the storms, I think what we have to do is we have to make sure that the maintenance of our infrastructure is kept up to date, because it's been very poor over the last 8 years. When you see the rivers, they're absolutely full of stone. How's the water supposed to be through? They haven't dredged it for many years. And I think that's one of the things that we should be doing, is ensuring that the maintenance is carried out.
You have your young family, if you like, not so young family, but still fairly young, and you want to try and get more of an incentive for students coming back to the island.
Yes, when you look at the unemployment figures on the island, we've got about 620 unemployed, about 1,000 jobs vacancies, and what I'd like to see is some sort of tax coding for our university students to come back, which actually give them some of their money back they've paid for in tuition fees, and I think that would be a great benefit and incentive for our young people to come back to the island.
Well, that's helping the students. What about trying to avoid the over 75s having to pay for their television licences?
Well, one of the things...
What difference can you make there?
Well, what we did was we had a committee that looked into the BBC. They underfund the Isle of Man by about £1 million. And as I said to the Minister of Policy and Reform, the government should take that responsibility on, say to the BBC, we are not going to pay the over 75s to them, we're going to take it out of that £1 million commitment to the Isle of Man.
You've said that, but it's not been done.
No, I think that's where we need some strong leadership into the next administration, and people who are able to stand up there and say to the BBC, because the UK government just unilaterally went and took 500 million from the BBC licence fee, which people of the Isle of Man actually contributed to, and put it into superfast broadband, which we don't get.
So strong leadership, you say. Do you see yourself as potential ministerial material again?
I think what we have is a situation in the next administration that you'll be struggling for people with any experience at all.
So is that a yes then?
Yes, I think what I've shown in the past is that you've got to have a strong leadership, and you've got to keep the people informed. If you're not honest with the people, you're not going to bring them along with you.
Just finally, who would you like to see as the next Chief Minister of the Isle of Man?
It's a very difficult decision, James. I'm not sure on that, but I think what we should do is have a Foreign Affairs Minister who can actually focus on the foreign side of it, and let the new Chief Minister keep clear focus on the Isle of Man issue.